2 in the first half, 2 in the second half, and it seems like the defense for you all just stayed there the entire duration of the match. Is that about what you saw as well?
Yeah, I would have liked to see 3 or 4 in the first half and 3 or 4 in the second half, but I thought there's some things that we can learn from in making sure we put games away. Obviously, there's a video review on a decision that the officials got correct, but I did give the guys fair warning just to say, you know, that decision goes the wrong way, and all of a sudden we concede a penalty and it's 2-1 when the game really should have been over at that point. We got to be a little bit more clinical and a little bit more ruthless. But I also think that there was an appetite to keep a clean sheet because I think they felt as though there was a missed opportunity on Thursday in that regard. So good to be as prolific as we've been, and then nice to shore things up a little bit on the other end. I don't know that they had a shot on target.
Even though it was pretty well in hand late in the second half, how satisfied were you to see 2 different guys be able to get 2 goals late?
Again, just the nature of the game, and a moment can change the complete momentum, if you like, and the complexity of things. We looked in incredible control for the vast majority. They brought, again, as expected, a little bit more energy second half. But until that third goal goes in, they're still kind of hanging around. So it was more just the relief that what we should have done probably 30-40 minutes earlier, we had finally done, and the third really looked like it sucked the energy out of them and allowed us to control the remainder of the game.
Dan, what was Simon's been terrific, right? What was your pitch to him when he was interested in transferring to West Virginia?
He told me he wanted to go somewhere where he was going to win. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. We can do that. So, no, he's a talented player. Ton of respect for Brett Cerency and Georgia State, what he's done there and what Simon meant to them. So of course, when the opportunity came to bring him here, we were really excited. And yeah, I mean, he wants to be in a position where, again, with respect to Georgia State, because they're a formidable opponent. He wanted to feel as though he was in an environment where he could win things, an environment where maybe he was going to be challenged a little bit more as far as the quality of competition that we have, and I think that showed a little bit in pre-season. And his first 2 performances of the year, he has taken full advantage of the opportunity he's had, and arguably kind of put some distance between his competitors with the stats that he's put together. But we knew that was the type of player he could be, that perhaps in a team with a little bit more of the ball and a little bit more of a territorial dominance, that he could thrive in those smaller spaces, find himself in really dangerous opportunities, and again, we've seen from how clinical he was at Georgia State that he's a finisher. So yeah, he was a difference maker tonight again.
I'm sure I can guess the answer to this. Did you take free kicks when you played here?
I did.
So what is necessary to be a great free kick taker?
Practice and an obsession with whether we use a Nike ball, an NCAA ball, an Adidas ball, where you have to make contact with the different types of dip and spin that you can create. It's a good strike. To be fair, he can consider himself lucky, because if Deco Dax hadn't got injured in the first game, then Ethan's a fantastic ball striker in those moments, and would have been lining that one up had he been on the field. But again, another string to his bow. His delivery from corner kicks and the wide free kicks has been phenomenal. So again, I mentioned to the guys at half time, there's multiple ways that we felt like we could hurt them, and set pieces was absolutely one of them. We had some first contacts on some incredible deliveries that we needed to put away in the first half. But to have that in your arsenal when maybe you're not as dynamic or as fluent in your general possession, if you can hurt a team on set pieces, they're going to win you a ton of games as well. So yeah, happy he's for us now.
How would you evaluate Marcus's play tonight in his first game?
Yeah, good to get him back out there again. Like, I think it's still a progression for him. His reality was kind of 3 days before this first day of pre-season. He showed up here in crutches and a boot, and I've a lot of photos of a really swollen ankle that was very concerning. So if anyone had said to me at that point he's going to be ready conceivably for game 1, but certainly for game 2, I'd have bit your hand off for it right there. So again, we're playing his progressions. I think he was 1.5 sessions in going into Thursday, so now he's 3.5 sessions into his pre-season, if you like, and hasn't done anything for nearly 4 weeks. So we have to manage that a little bit, and manage him, because I'm sure he wanted to stay out there. He looked pretty disappointed to come off, but a little bit is just us protecting him and making sure that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. But he can make a difference. You saw it straight away. His physicality, the way he can move the opponent, and then his pace and strength. It's so dangerous, and we'll be excited to get more and more of that available as the season progresses.
Simon told us he was at the LMU match in the NCAA tournament last year. I mean, given what you said he wanted to achieve here and what he wanted to achieve at his next school, did you see that light bulb go off, I guess, when you talked to him after the game? You see that realization in him?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, that was a pretty special moment. It'd have also seen me break down in tears, so he may not have wanted to play for me at that point. But yeah, like when you come here, both crowds, to be fair, Thursday in particular, we knew it's always a little trickier on a Monday night, but the crowds that we've drawn, we sold out 4 of the last 5 games. That makes a huge difference. To have a recruit in that environment and advance to the Final Four, what kid's going to say no to that?
A week ago, before everything starts, everything's about Marcus when we talk about this team. Now we get Sergio and Simon lighting it up. Is that a good thing for you guys, either for defenses paying attention to Marcus or just from a more like hype perspective?
It shows, just as we did last year, we have a very versatile attack and a lot of players in our arsenal in that regard. Again, I think Sergio should feel a little hard done by just as to how valuable he was last year and the lack of attention that he got. I understand, Yutaro and Marcus led the team, but in Luke McCormick and Sergio Navarro last season, we had a front four that was arguably as good. I don't know this to be true. 70% of stats are made up on the spot, but I would challenge there was any other front four that had as many goals and assists as those 4 did. So now when you look at introducing Simon Carlson, Felix Ewald, Ethan Deckeldax, Isaac Shear, putting some really good minutes for us, and other young players that can really help us, all I would say is that we've retained our depth in the attacking positions and have threats in many different ways.
Good. Thank you.
All right, thanks guys.